Surge in gas fees sparks outrage in multiple Chinese cities amid government robbery claims. Mysterious blast ignites China's financial crisis. China's youth unemployment rate excluding students rises to 7.2% in March. Foreign investment flees. Apple expands in Southeast Asia, leaving ghost town around Zhengzhou Foxconn. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Surge in gas fees sparks outrage in multiple Chinese cities amid government robbery claims. In recent days, residents in various parts of Chongqing and Sichuan have taken to the internet to complain about their gas bills skyrocketing several times over after changing their meters. Even without meter replacement, gas bills have been soaring, sparking public concern among citizens. Some households have even seen a five-fold increase. One gas user remarked, "Now, without turning anything on and the meter not moving, I only need to turn on the hot water and look at that speed. It's spinning incredibly fast." Ms. Wang, a resident of Nannan District in Chongqing, said, "This month, it will cost over 100 or 200 yuan more, about $27 and 63 cents, unlike before. Every month, for the three of us, our gas and electricity bills are 3 to 4 times higher. The gas bill is more than double what it used to be. They all say the meter is good, but they ended up replacing it for us, replacing it uniformly, and we pay every month. They don't even come to check the meter, they just deduct the money directly." The issue is not limited to Chongqing. Netizens have reported soaring gas bills in Sichuan, Shanghai, and other places as well. On April 17, the well-known screenwriter Li Yaling stated that the natural gas meter in her Chengdu home was abnormal, generating over 500 cubic meters of usage despite being away from home for 2 months. A Shanghai netizen also mentioned that after replacing the meter, the gas bill has been skyrocketing. There are even more bizarre cases. According to the paper, an elderly person in Chengdu was charged 15,000 yuan, about $2,073 for gas after staying at home for 4 months. The gas company claimed it was due to the inclusion of delayed gas consumption from the previous 10 years. Financial reports released by Chongqing Gas Company show that after replacing the meters, the total gas transmission volume increased only slightly, but profits skyrocketed 8-fold year-on-year. Discussing this issue, people are saying that since the real estate market is struggling, the authorities are naturally finding ways to exploit the common people. One gas user lamented, "We are already under pressure to survive, and you still want to exploit us like leaks." Mr. Sun, a resident of Jiangxi, remarked, "This is their usual practice, it's common throughout the country. It's an open secret, not surprising at all." On April 17, Weibo users reported that after negotiations with relevant departments, the gas meters in Chongqing automatically slowed down their rotation speed. This seems to confirm the revelations of a blogger named Mumu, who said, according to an insider, the gas company did not tamper with the meters but with the gas itself. They added industrial nitrogen to the gas. Industrial nitrogen is cheap, costing only 0.3 yuan, around 4 cents, per cubic meter. However, after adding industrial nitrogen, the calorific value of the natural gas decreases, so the pressure needs to be increased. As the cost of gas, water, and electricity continues to climb, some online commentators are warning that this could be a sign of broader inflation in essential goods and services. One netizen predicts that the next steps will be increases in communication and internet fees, as well as train and subway fares, since these are all state-controlled and can be used to make up for the loss of fiscal revenue. Commentator Tang Jingyuan compares the state-owned enterprises that are raising prices to bandits who are openly robbing your money under the permission of the government. He believes that the CCP's true nature has not changed, and that they will continue to resort to these tactics whenever they are short of money. The rising cost of utilities is a major concern for many Chinese citizens. They are worried that it will strain their household budgets and make it more difficult to make ends meet. The government has not yet responded to these concerns, but it is likely that they will come under increasing pressure to address the issue. Mysterious blast ignites China's financial crisis. As China faces an economic downturn exacerbated by a slumping real estate market, the banking sector is encountering escalating credit risks. This has led to the abandonment of housing projects by developers who disappear with investors' funds, plunging many homeowners into financial ruin and significantly reducing middle-class assets. Consequently, an increasing number of property owners are defaulting on their mortgages, which has drastically increased the volume of bad loans on banks' books. Amidst this economic chaos, particularly following a 3-year pandemic, a troubling trend has emerged on the mainland, a professional debt-carrying industry within the shady underbelly of the real estate sector. These professional deadbeats, predestined to be lifelong defaulters, have spawned a black market industry that thrives on social media platforms like TikTok and Xiaohongshu. Here, coded advertisements recruit individuals desperate for quick riches, promising substantial immediate returns in exchange for accepting substantial debt burdens and a spot on bank blacklists. Frauds, accountability is rarely enforced, allowing this clandestine industry to flourish under the guise of official negligence, reflecting a broader pattern of financial misconduct within the Chinese banking system that shifts the financial burden onto the general populace. Economic downturn drives lower class into professional debt-bearing. As of December 2023, China's blacklist swelled to 8.59 million individuals, mostly adults within the workforce, marking a 50% increase since the COVID-19 pandemic's outset under the CCP label. The past 3 years have seen aggressive policy shifts by Xi Jinping's government, heavily impacting the real estate and private sectors and plummeting the economy into a steep decline. This has left public sector workers with slashed wages and pushed the middle class into poverty, as overall incomes plummeted. According to a recent study by Beijing Normal University and the NDRC, over 39% of Chinese, about 547 million people, earn less than 1,000 yuan, about $138.09 a month, and more than 964 million earn under 2,000 yuan, about $276.17. These income brackets are so low that families can hardly save for emergencies. Opportunistic black market intermediaries and corrupt bank officials have exploited these vulnerabilities, aggressively recruiting the financially desperate and those unconcerned with their credit status. This includes everyone from failed business owners needing urgent medical funds to recipients of minimal state welfare. Entire villages are now full of households turning to professional borrowing as a means of escape, creating what's known as professional debt-bearing villages. Life on the fringe as a professional debt-bearer is fraught with risks. Swindlers and insiders can saddle someone with insurmountable debts, often leaving them with little or no payout. This underworld existence forces many to live in the shadows, with earnings hidden in relatives' accounts to avoid asset freezes. With a criminal record potentially affecting their children's futures, some have even resorted to divorce as a protective measure. Clearing their names is virtually impossible for professional debt bearers unless they have the connections and funds to manipulate their official status through death and residency records, effectively allowing them to reinvent their identities and start anew. China's debt burden soars, resident debt exceeds global average by 50%, home loan defaults surge. According to the China Financial Stability Report, 2023, from the People's Bank of China, the household debt-to-income ratio in China surged to 148.6% by mid-2023, reaching about $11 trillion, mostly 50% above the global average and substantially higher than in developed countries. This increase is part of a broader trend over the last decade, where household debt relative to GDP has nearly doubled, largely due to government policies promoting heavy borrowing for home purchases amid land-focused economic growth. This has left many unable to pay their mortgages due to rising unemployment and a struggling economy. In response, the Chinese government has implemented measures to stimulate the housing market, including reducing mortgage interest rates. However, these measures have led to reduced profit margins for banks, with significant decreases in net interest margins and overall profitability. The downturn in real estate has pushed up the non-performing loan rate in the sector. By the end of 2023, the non-performing loan rates for real estate loans at China Construction Bank, CCB, Postal Savings, and Bank of Communications stood at 5.64%, 2.45%, and 4.99%, respectively, significant increases from the previous year. Furthermore, non-performing assets within China's financial system are projected to reach 20 trillion yuan, about $2.8 trillion by 2025, representing 10% of total bank loan balances. Caixin, a Chinese financial news outlet, reports that non-performing personal loan assets in mainland China have hit the trillion yuan mark. The narrative that the more the party controls finance, the less safe it becomes has been underscored by the fall from grace of former Minister of Justice Tang Yijun, who has been arrested. The arrest is believed to be connected to Xinjiang Bank's financial support for the embattled Evergrande Group. Caixin reported on the connection, but the report was quickly taken down by the authorities. Tang is a member of the Zhejiang Gang, which is part of Xi Jinping's faction. His downfall indicates that the Evergrande scandal has reached the core circle of power in Zhongnanhai. The arrest is part of a broader crackdown on corruption in the financial sector. In 2023, a total of 87 financial system officials were investigated, including central and provincial level officials. Amid these challenges, Xi Jinping's administration has intensified the party's control over finance, elevating it to a matter of national security and initiating rigorous checks within the financial sector, known as the Four Nothings campaign. Netizens have sarcastically commented that it is enough to keep an eye on the various chairmen and secretaries, as ordinary people have no ability to be pessimists, short sellers, bears, or hollowers. China's youth unemployment rate excluding students rises to 7.2% in March. On April 18, the CCP's National Bureau of Statistics released the latest unemployment rate data for different age groups in March. It showed that the urban youth unemployment rate for 16 to 24-year-olds, excluding students, remained steady at 15.3%, while the rate for 25 to 29-year-olds rose to 7.2%. However, CCP official data often hides unfavorable situations, suggesting that the actual data may be worse. On April 16, Xing Liyun, deputy director of the National Bureau of Statistics, acknowledged during a press conference that this year, 11.76 million college graduates entered the labor market. However, based on first-quarter observations, there has been a slight increase in youth unemployment, warranting significant attention. Since last year, youth unemployment rates have frequently hit record highs, sometimes exceeding 20%. The CCP stopped releasing this data in July last year and began publishing unemployment rates for labor forces aged 16 to 24, 25 to 29, and 30 to 59, excluding students, in December of the same year. Foreign investment flees. Apple expands in Southeast Asia, leaving ghost town around Zhengzhou Foxconn. Apple's CEO, Tim Cook, has recently visited Vietnam, India, and Indonesia in an effort to diversify the company's supply chain. Meanwhile, employee numbers at Foxconn's Zhengzhou plant have decreased by 80%. In Vietnam, Cook met with students, programmers, and content creators. Although he announced increased investment commitments to the region, he did not disclose specific amounts or scales. Apple has been operating in Vietnam for over a decade, creating over 200,000 jobs locally. According to 2022 data, Apple has 26 suppliers and 28 factories in Vietnam, mostly located in northern provinces for easy access to existing supply chains in southern China. Northern Vietnam has historically been a hub for electronics manufacturing, with cheap and skilled labor. Currently, the majority of key production bases for Apple's iPad, AirPods, and Apple Watch are in Vietnam. In addition to Vietnam, Apple also plans to shift its production chain to India. In 2023, iPhone production in India doubled, accounting for 14% of the total. It is estimated to increase to at least 25% in 2024. It is expected to be largely completed within 3 years. Following his trip to Vietnam on April 17, Cook swiftly traveled to Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia. After meeting with Indonesian President Joko Widodo, he announced at a press conference that Apple is considering establishing manufacturing facilities in Indonesia. He stated that Indonesia's investment potential is limitless. Indonesia has long been attracting global manufacturing companies to boost economic development, while Apple has been seeking to diversify its supply chain. In recent years, Apple has moved some of its production capacity to Southeast Asia, with a recent focus on India. Currently, Apple does not have manufacturing facilities in Indonesia, but it has previously set up 3 developer academies. Cook's visit also marks the opening of the 4th developer academy in Bali, Indonesia. The total cost of these 4 academies, including the new one, amounts to 1.6 trillion Indonesian rupiah, approximately $99 million. Meanwhile, the scale of Foxconn's factory in Zhengzhou, China, has significantly decreased. In April last year, First Financial reported that the number of employees at Foxconn's Zhengzhou campus has sharply declined from a peak of 300,000 to only 60,000 to 70,000. Nearby commercial streets have become deserted, with most shops closed down. Foxconn's Zhengzhou campus, known as iPhone City, once a popular commercial street, is now deserted, with many shops closed and even displaying rental notices. Foxconn employees stated that Apple has moved some production lines to places like India, leading to decreased demand for local Chinese workers. On February 24, the NetEase account Burst Corner Tracking stated that Foxconn had cut 320,000 jobs. As China's economy faces difficulties, the CCP introduced a new version of the anti-espionage law at the end of 2023, sparking strong concerns among foreign businesses. According to the Western media, nearly 90% of foreign investment entering China in 2023 has withdrawn. American economist C. Fred Bergston from the Peterson Institute for International Economics said, the introduction of the anti-espionage law has caused many companies to pause, leading to a cooling-off effect. Not only has foreign investment in China decreased, but in fact, foreign investors are selling their assets in China, which we have not seen in the past. Obviously, we have not seen any signs that the CCP will change its behavior, that is, trying to regulate foreign companies and heavily intervene in economic governance. We also have not seen any changes in U.S. policies on global value chain transformation. So, I think, from these 2 aspects, we may see that foreign investment entering China in 2024 will largely remain sluggish. Let us know your thoughts on today's topic by leaving a comment below. If you found this video helpful, please share it with a friend. It inspires us to continue creating more quality and reliable content. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more interesting insights from China Truths. Thanks for tuning in.